Good day. Today we're going to do activity number 3. And our task is to create a video on how to export Google Forms or Google Sheet data to SPSS, importing XLS data to SPSS, a walkthrough of SPSS, discussing data in variable view, and computing frequencies in SPSS. So for our first part, we're going to export Google Forms. After you get your form, let's start from the beginning. Let's go to our forms and select our profile. Let's go to our copy of questionnaire. And then once you have your questionnaires, you can go to responses and then view responses in sheets. Now, because this is a copy of the original questionnaire, they are both linked to this sheet, which has the responses. So let's do this. Once you have your sheet, you can press file, download, and click Microsoft Excel.xlsx file. Once we have done that, let's go to our file. And then, let's do this off screen. Let's go to SPSS. Once we open SPSS, we're going to have our data importing. So let's import our data. Click File, Import Data, and select Excel. Now for this activity, we're going to open Research Responses, which we downloaded earlier. Click Open. Now you will be prompted to have a range from the worksheet. We have checkboxes here, additional options for you. So it's gonna read variable names from first row of data, determine data types, ignore hidden columns. Okay. And then below is the preview of what it will look like. So let's click OK. Once the data is uploaded to SPSS, we will have the data view. So in front of us, which has all the data from the source material, which is from the export from Google Sheets. Now let's have a walkthrough of SPSS. SPSS is basically like a spreadsheet, but with tons of additional functions and helper tools that would expedite all your statistical needs. Typical from a program or an application we have, Windows application we have, File, Edit, View. We also have the data, which incorporates a lot of functionalities to transform data. We also have Analyze, which would create a lot of mathematical functions, easier for you to work on your data. They also have graphs, which would help you make graphs easier rather than exporting the data to other software, then making the graphs from there. Utilities, extensions, windows, and help. Now, we have on our window data view and variable view. Data view is just the simple representation of your data. You could see all the columns and the rows, the timestamps, depending on your survey type. And basically, it's a view of all your data and could span a lot of variables or columns. Let's now go to variable view. Now, the variable view determines what type of data we are working on. These are the numbers of columns that are visible in the data view. These are the names of the variables, the type, the width. Let's go over them one by one. So the name of the variable is non-spaced, and it's also limited in characters, which you could also change for an alternative or a better representation of your data. For this example, we're going to change it into naming convention, which we will put Q and the number of the question. So Q stands for question in this context. And we're going to change them one by one. So we started with Q1, now going to Q15 and so forth. Once we're done, we will go to the next item. Now for this example, we don't have variables up to 25, so we could select all of these, left click and then drag down. Left click, drag down. You could right click and then clear. Now that's the name of our variables. The type is, the type of the variable that you can specifically put into the timestamp is date. Then we could also select from numeric, comma, dot, scientific notation, date, color, string. Okay, but for this, we have a data type string with 9 characters. Let's go back to data view. 9 characters represent all the characters, maximum length for the variable type. For this example, it's 9 because we have 9 characters in spaces included. So it automatically selects the maximum amount of characters that are given in variable type. So label, it retains its actual column values with spaces. For values, we could set this to, if you have a scale like Likert or Likert, we put our values. For example, this one is, we could assign very poor for value number 1, value number 2 is poor. Click add. 3 is fair. Click add. 4 is good. Click add. And 5 for very good. So once you're done, click OK. Now, this value type will be assigned a value of 1 for very poor, 2 for poor, and so on. We could do this one by one for each item. But if you have the same type of scale like this, you could just copy this information, select the values that we want to change, and all of them. You could just click and drag, or you could do press shift and click at the bottom. You can paste the information and it will be copied for every highlighted cell. So now they have the same values for they have the same question types. We also have missing, but we're not going to use this functionality for now. We could also have the measure for our data type, which is, we could change it to scale, ordinal, or nominal. This one's a scale because it goes from a certain date. And now we also have the row. We could change this into input, target, both, none, So that's that's it for the data view and variable view. Recap: data view is a view for all your information, all the responses from your survey, and the variable view is, or it defines what the data is. It's like the metadata. Now, for our last point to discuss, computing frequencies in SPSS. Once we have our data imported in SPSS, we could go to Analyze and select descriptive statistics and then go to frequencies. It will show a window which you could select all your data. You could just press shift and click, to highlight all the data and click the right arrow, and then there's an option. It says there, create APA style tables, so click it. We could use it for our reporting. We could also change other settings right here. We have options for percentile values, central tendency, dispersion, and distribution. So you could select that. You could also make charts, a pie charts, histograms, format, style, and bootstrap. But we're not going to do that for this presentation. Once you have all these selected, you can click OK. And it will go to your statistics viewer. And there you go. We have all our generated tables and also our frequency tables. It will do SPSS. SPSS will do all these automatically for you guys. So this is the column name, the frequency for all of the answers. You would have it in the count and in the percentage of all the answers, which you could now use for your reports or research. And that's it for SPSS. I hope this answers all the questions required for our activity. Thank you very much for watching, and God bless.